Hi, this is Paul Blough, and it's time again for another 5x5. Today I'm going to share with you a really important business concept that every business needs to have, and not even just a business, but even a department within a business needs to adopt this as well. And it's the idea of core values. Now, you probably have heard that word. Hopefully you've heard that word. If you haven't, let me just kind of explain real quickly what a core value is. It's a list of basic requirements for being a part of the organization. And it's usually pretty small, ideally around 4 or 5, but really never any more than 10. In fact, they really like you to keep it below 7. But one of the most famous companies that uses these principles extremely well is Zappos, the shoe company, if you're familiar with them. They were purchased recently by Amazon and for an awful lot of money, but they've kept their very unique culture. And the core values is how they define that culture and put it down into a way so that people are able to just kind of understand, when I come to work at Zappos, these are the 10 things that I should expect to not only experience but to participate in. So one of the things that I learned about core values I thought was extremely interesting was that it really doesn't matter what your core values are, it matters whether you have them. So the most important thing for any business is to have established, defined, and very clear core values that are communicated. Now, they're going to be unique from one business to the next. In fact, I'm part of a peer group of another 11 companies, 12 of us all together, that are all in the same industry, and there's not a one of us that has exactly the same core values, even though we do pretty much exactly the same thing. Everybody has their own unique take on that. Now, Patrick Lencioni wrote a book called The Advantage, and The Advantage is largely about core values. And then it really talks about also the clarity that needs to go along with those. And so, for instance, once you establish your 4 to 10 core values, then what you're going to do is you're going to communicate that, and then you're going to over-communicate that. Now, another system that I like really, really well is called Traction, and it's a book by Gino Wickman that's based on the idea of an entrepreneurial operating system, and core values is key into their concept of how you run a business as well. So really what the EOS system, the Traction book, takes is these ideas that Patrick Lencioni just really expounds upon in great detail and puts it into a practical system in which you can actually use. And so, to give you an illustration, one of the things that Gino Wickman in his book Traction talks about that I think is really interesting is that when you interview somebody for a job, one of the things that you should be doing is having a little checkoff list as to whether they meet your core values. And when you're reviewing employees throughout the year, the other thing that you want to do is you want to measure them on how they align themselves with the company core values. Now, you probably are wondering why this is so important. Well, imagine that if your business is a rowboat, okay, with 10 or 12 people or however many you have inside that rowboat. Now imagine if you're trying to get from one end of a lake to the other end of the lake, and you've got other people that are competing with you, and you want to win, right? Who would want to lose? To be able to get from one end to the other, you've all got to row in the same direction at the same time. If we are not rowing in the same direction at the same time, it's going to be chaos out there and we're not going to succeed. That is exactly what core values does inside of a business, is it allows us to align ourselves in the same direction to make sure we're all moving in the right area and doing the same thing. So in our case, core values is kind of interesting because as a Christian and actually as a Baptist pastor, I actually use the Bible as my set for core values. In fact, I use this, I can't even really claim any originality because I took the core values that Jesus himself used and made those the core values of our company. And so if you look at the Beatitudes there in the book of Matthew, those 8 principles, well, those are really our core values. In fact, we even focus just on the first 4. And that's something that aligns our company together to allow all of our people to row in the same direction. Again, it does not, you don't have to do the same thing I did. In fact, you probably won't. But I need you to pick 4 or 5 or 6 or no more than 10 core values for your company. Make sure that you communicated that to all of your people and that you're moving in the right direction at the same time.